This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Fellas, it's been a hell of a year. Personally, I feel like I've aged 12 years over the last 12 months. And if you're like me, you're feeling your age more than you used to, especially in the bedroom. It's time to snap out of it. Spring is here, and it's time to get sprung with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, stronger erections to combat all forms of ED. It's erectile dysfunction. Blue Chew is an online prescription service, so no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. Don't like swallowing pills? No problems here. Blue Chew's sildenafil and tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the USA, and they prepare and ship direct, so it's cheaper than a pharmacy. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code NODUNKS at checkout. You just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code NODUNKS, to receive your first month free. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
You have just entered into the quiet storm for foodies. And on tonight's menu, we have lamb chops by none other than Millionaire. Are you ready? Let's go. Ooh, look at that. Sizzling. Lamb chops are on my mind.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. Today, Tuesday, June 1st, marks our 500th podcast with the company. So happy everybody. I'm J.E. Skeets, rolling with the homie, Tass Mellis.
Happy June, everybody.
Hey, Tass, you got my Top Shot Hot Boy ripping some lips yesterday. I saw it on the old lake. Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey, yo, the international man of mystery, taking it to the Max Lee Ellis.
Friends.
Really, and last but not least, making the magic happen is JD.
Hello.
There he is, and here we are. Shout out to the stream team for joining us live on YouTube. You had us giggling with your comments during our first ad read there with the classic loading / erection loading. Smash that like button, leave your comments, and subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. TK and I are actually going to have a brand new Top Shot Hot Boys episode for you later today. It's been a minute. So we'll rip some packs, do a few giveaways with moments, and we should have a special guest from actual Top Shot joining us on that show on YouTube. So join us at 3 p.m. Eastern. That one's only on YouTube. It's not a podcast. So subscribe so you know when we're going live. And if you're a Top Shot Hot Boy or girl, swing by, have some fun. Send in your questions and comments for tomorrow's Beach Steppin' podcast. Hitting the beach on Wednesday. Email them in nodunks@theathletic.com. Tweet them in at nodunks inc. And finally, go grab your sweet No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. Anybody got anything special in store for our 500th episode, or you guys just want to talk about basketball?
I was thinking about coming up with a top 5 leprechauns because there's been a lot of leprechaun talk, Skeets, in the past 48 hours. But honestly, as soon as I Googled best leprechauns, I knew I had taken an L. So I had to put it on the back burner. Maybe it'll be back for the drop. Basically, what I'm saying is I don't know if there are 5 great leprechauns. And I can't include Lucky on the list right now. Can't do it. So help me out. Tweet me some of your favorite leprechauns.
Okay.
Please.
Oh, I can't. I mean, the only leprechaun I can think of is that awesome YouTube clip where the guy yells, "If anybody seen the Leprechaun, let me hear you say yeah." Then they see
Probably would make
graph.
the list if I'm going to be honest. That's up there. Obviously, Warwick Davis, Leprechaun. I think he was the star of that. Is going to be up there, and the Lucky Charms Leprechaun. But there are still at least 2 spots open. So send in your best leps.
Yeah. What about the dude from Austin Powers? Isn't he a leprechaun? The sort of the Irish dude. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
What was his name?
Yeah.
He says it right. They're always after me, Lucky Charm.
All right. So
Hornswoggle in the mix, of course. But yeah, get him in.
All right. Help Trey out. Otherwise, we're going to talk basketball here to celebrate 500 episodes with The Athletic. That's not counting, by the way, Tass's what? How many did you get up to? 90 plus what you need to know? Is that right? Maybe that's
92.
92 it was.
Jays wanted in 92. Yep.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah, we're really actually well over 500. So let's just get talking hoops here, and we will start. We'll start in the Western Conference. Only 2 games on last night, so we can actually put a little focus into both of these, a little attention. We'll start with Donovan Mitchell scoring 30 as the Jazz beat the Grizzlies, and they take that 3-1 series lead. Thought we were going to have all 4 Western Conference matchups, possibly 2-2, but in the end, the number 1 seeded Grizzlies do take that 3-1 series lead with the 120-113 victory. Lee, get us started, man. What do you want to talk about?
Well, another good battle, and the Grizzlies continue to impress with their fight. But as this series goes on, I think you're seeing just the experience of the Jazz, and I think it was again the case last night because this one was a 13-point game after 3 quarters. The Jazz and the Grizzlies made a run, but it came from an unlikely source. It was kind of found money in DeAnthony Melton, really bringing them back into that. But it was down to 2 points with just over 5 minutes to go. But I think you could just then see what the Jazz got. They basically got 3 really good looks, 2 from Conley and 1 from Bogdanovic from 3 that were, for the most part open enough. And they knocked them in. And again, that was more reflective of the entire story here for the Jazz. 17 for 34 for the game. From 3-point range, and that's a huge percentage, and that's a lot of threes to make. And everyone, except for Jingles couldn't register one last night, but everyone who shoots them, outside of course, Favors and Gobert hit a couple last night. And I just think that just shows how varied their offense is they get so many guys who can score and shoot. Jordan Clarkson had a good game off the bench. Rudy Gobert himself didn't have a good first half, very quiet, but then he got some baskets, easier baskets in that second half there. And every time it felt like the Grizzlies were pushing, they were using their energy just to sort of stay and keep up with the Jazz, I thought. Whereas the Jazz just, again, when they needed to, they could just keep stretching the game out here. And that's really what I think it was. It was just the inexperience of the Grizzlies. They made a few turnovers down the stretch there as well. But impressive performance. But I think as we head back to Utah, this one's got douchey written all over it. I really don't see the Jazz losing a game 5 at home. And really, considering where this series started, of course, with the controversy in game 1, Donovan Mitchell not playing, calling out the team, they lose that game. Ja Morant has a huge game. You sort of feel that, okay, maybe this one has upset over it, but now the Jazz have just really done enough to fend off a worthy adversary. I think the Grizzlies have really impressed a lot of people. And I know, Skitsy, one thing you talk about is you like a team to battle in that first round. It sort of builds them up. But I think you're seeing that, even though it is likely going to be a douchebag sweep. I think the Jazz come away from this, realizing that they're in for a bit of a scrap and they're going to have to improve their defense. I thought still the Grizzlies get inside a little bit too easy. And if they were to face a team like the Clippers, who they're scheduled to face if the Clippers win that series against the Mavericks, they're going to have to be much better at stopping guys like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard from getting in the paint there. So good, impressive win again from the Jazz last night. Mitchell had 30 and was their star, but I think they got so many contributions from everyone who played, which is the Jazz when they're at their best.
Yeah, I think Conley sort of saved their ass a little bit there last night because they just went ice cold there in the fourth. You said the Grizzlies opened it up with a 12-2 run. Memphis always claws their way back into these games. And then, it was Conley that ended the Jazz scoring drought there. He hit that 3, that little step back, and he blocked a jumper by Ja Morant, and he hit another 3. Mike Conley's been damn good in this series. He's averaging 20, 10, and 5 with shooting splits of 46% from the floor, 53% from deeply, and 100% at the line. I knew you liked that part. 16 3-pointers, 41 assists, and only turned the ball over 8 times in 4 games. I'm oddly finding myself cheering for Mike Conley in the West with the Jazz and then Drew Holiday on the Bucks in the East. I think it's some weird Lowry factor that's going on here. These sort of unheralded, vet point guards, obviously being a Lowry fan, that you've got in these guys in Conley and Drew Holiday that sort of bring it on both ends too. But honestly, he's been awesome in this series, TK. And I thought, again, he's sort of like, you're right, Mitchell gets the headline with the 30 piece, but Conley was awesome at the right time in this game.
Yeah, Conley was actually the story for me as well. It seemed like he had a lot more than 6 points in the fourth quarter. He just hit 2 threes, but they were both massive. They were just really momentum killers. And you mentioned it on the show recently, Skeets, that it's funny watching Mike Conley play in Memphis because you would think that the fans would get so mad at Conley like hitting a momentum killing shot. But it's like, they're just happy for him too. They're like, oh, you rapscallion, you got us this time, Mike Conley. But I thought he was great. And I thought Mitchell was actually pretty good in the fourth quarter too. The shots weren't falling, but he kept attacking, took a ton of free throws. The whole team followed suit. Jazz went 3 of 16 from the field in the fourth quarter, but they made 11 of their 12 free throws. They're a good jump shooting team. They won the jump shooting battle last night. Again, that's really the stat of this series. The Jazz went 17 of 34 from 3. You shoot 50% on 34 threes, you're probably going to win the game, but they weren't hot in the fourth quarter. Conley made a couple, and they just kept getting to the line. Those are efficient shots right there.
Yeah, what was your takeaway, Tass, from this Game 4 victory here from the Jazz?
Well, people want to label the Jazz, try and classify them as an older team, a team that didn't win the championship. People are looking for the comparison. We've talked about the Atlanta Hawks in 14-15, that 60-win team with Paul Millsap and Al Horford. People now comparing them to the 2009 Orlando Magic that went to the finals. Dwight Howard is your Rudy Gobert with a bunch of shooters like Rashard Lewis, Jameer Nelson, Hedo Turkoglu. That's a decent one. But I think if you look at this Utah Jazz team, all these guys do everything, and that's the positive for the Utah Jazz going forward into the second round and the third round. Like Bojan Bogdanovic, you think of him as a shooter, but the way he's getting into the lane and he's doing the pass that every point guard has in the NBA, all good point guards have in the NBA, where you get into the lane and you whip it to the opposite corner. Bojan Bogdanovic is doing that with his left hand right now. It might not always be on the money, but Bojan's got that in his bag. We've talked about Mike Conley and his little redemption tour here after having a bad playoffs last year. That was a block, 2 rebounds, and a 3-pointer. That stretch there in the fourth quarter where, you're right, Trey. It seemed like he had a bigger fourth quarter because points-wise he didn't, but he was making all the right plays and just did all the little key things. And Donovan Mitchell closes it out. So it's way different, I think, than an Atlanta Hawks team or even the Orlando Magic team. The Orlando Magic, when they got to the Lakers, they didn't have a closer. It's key now, it's clear, I should say. Donovan Mitchell, the closer. And the crappy part for the Grizzlies in this series is they let Jordan Clarkson get cooking in Game 3. After he went 1 for 14 in the first 2 games, Clarkson he's a heat check, and so he saw a couple go through in Game 3, and then he hit 4 threes in Game 4. So to me, it's understandable why everybody kind of compares them to teams that didn't get over the hump, that didn't have what it takes to win, because they are all going to have to contribute. And right now, they are. They're all doing what it takes to get there and get to the last few minutes where Donovan Mitchell's going to take over. So I was a quick turn. Game 1, it looked bad for them. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell was out. They get the stories, the headlines. Oh, Donovan Mitchell doesn't like his trainer's feuding with the Jazz trainers. But they've gone through those ups and downs before, obviously, with the whole pandemic situation and Rudy Gobert touching everyone's mics and Donovan Mitchell not talking to Rudy Gobert for weeks. So I think they can come together. They have coalesced real quickly. And when they get to the second round, as they definitely will, they should have all the momentum on their side, and they should be the favorite in that series against the Clippers or the Mavs. I'm
glad you brought up that comparison. I saw that tweet too, Tass, and it was making its way around on Twitter. At Emmanuel Waz, actually, he tweeted at us. He threw it out there. Is a comparison between the 09 Magic, the one that went to the finals and lost, to this year's Jazz team. Is it legit or is it crazy? And I loved it. And thanks to Emmanuel for tweeting it in. I did a little deep dive on it just to go back and check, of course, the style they play and all that. Jazz finished 52-20, so number 1 record in the league this year. The Magic were 59-23. I mean, it was a full season. That was good for 3rd in the East, so they were obviously one of the top teams. The Jazz led the league this year in net rating, 3rd best offense, 4th best defense. The Magic had the league's 4th best net rating and 11th ranked offense, but they had the best defense with Dwight Howard. And then, when you look at the style, obviously it's the Dwight Gobert comparison, like the elite defensive guy in the middle. And then they just both let it fly from the perimeter and have a bunch of guys. Jazz has Mitchell, Clarkson, Bogey, Ingles, Conley firing away. It goes on and on. They ranked 1st in the league in 3-pointers made and 3-pointers attempt this year. The Magic were 2nd in that 08-09 season in both of those categories because they had Rashard Lewis, Turk, Jameer, JJ Redick, Courtney Lee, Mikal Petrus, if you remember, in a playoff series, was on fire. He was hitting threes and was decent in the regular season. And then even like expectations coming into the year, the Jazz were plus 4,000 to win the title coming in here. So a lot of people not picking them. The Magic that year, back then, they have this up on Basketball Reference, which is sort of cool. Yeah, we're plus 2,000. So, like a far, far-fetched team to win the title. And, of course, they didn't, so you would have lost money if you made that bet. But anyway, the year prior, the Magic had gone out in the second round of the Pistons in like 5 games. So it's not like they had gone deep. But I think there's something there. And, hey, look, the Magic in 08-09 had to get by LeBron and did. I think it shocked some people. Now, LeBron did not have a good team. But LeBron was a monster. He was putting up like 39 8-8s in that series.
First playoff game winner.
That's exactly right. Game 2, right? I think in that series.
3-pointer.
And then, possibly, who knows what happens in the Suns-Lakers series and moving forward in all of the series in the West. But maybe the Jazz would have to go through a LeBron team in what would be the West Finals. Magic Cavs was in the East Finals. So there could be similarities too. So I don't know. I don't think it's that crazy. Again, the Hawks one gets thrown around all the time, but especially with the Gobert, Dwight, and then just all these guys that can make plays and let it fly on the perimeter, I think there's something there, Trey. I thought it was a great tweet from Emmanuel.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. That's a good way to build a team. Run, pick, and roll if you have a dominant big man, whether it be Dwight Howard or Rudy Gobert. I'm personally taking Dwight over Rudy, but then I'm probably taking the rest of the Jazz over the rest of the Magic. Like, I think you would probably take Donovan Mitchell over Jameer Nelson. Maybe it's a close call between Bojan and Hedo Turkoglu. Who's better at throwing alley-oops off the glass that may be shot attempts? Only time will tell. But that's a good way to build a team. If you're not necessarily going to have a ton of perimeter go-get-a-bucket talent, superstar talent on the perimeter, you got to shoot a lot of threes. And the Jazz have been shooting threes well for the entirety of the season. Last night, no different.
Yeah, Lee, what do you think of that fun comparison? The 08-09 Magic to go to the finals and lose to this year's Jazz team.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'll just point out as well, though, they did beat the Celtics without Kevin Garnett, who was injured that series. So, and that was a Game 7 in Boston they had to win. I think Petrus actually was big in that game, if I remember, in the fourth quarter. And the Turkoglu and Bogdanovic is a fair comparison. I probably would actually take Turkoglu for that season because he was really good that season. He was really good in that role. He basically, that was his high watermark, though. He never reached that level again. But he was he just fitted in perfectly to that system because he could hit the three, he could handle the ball, and he could pass it in there to Dwight. So I think he offered a little more than Boggy does right now. But overall, I'd probably take Boggy because I think he's got a longer career and a higher trajectory. But it's a fun comparison. And Stan Van Gundy was kind of ahead of the curve like that. He felt have a big man inside so that if you double off him, any one of those guys can hit the three. Now, Rudy doesn't have quite that same intimidation as far as his offensive game, as far as, you can throw him the lobs as well as Dwight. I would still take Dwight out of those two. Mm-hmm. But it's the same sort of thing where it's like if anyone is open, anyone on that perimeter should be able to shoot threes. And again, apart from Favors and Gobert, everybody does for the Jazz. And they shoot them at a fairly high clip for the most part. When they're playing their best, it seems impossible to stop.
Do you remember who the 09 Magic played in the first round, Lee? You remember the second round? You remember
Atlanta, wasn't it?
No, they played the Sixers. I thought it was interesting because we keep talking about how young this Grizzlies team is and how much of a fight they're putting up. It took 6 games for that 09 Magic team to beat the Sixers. And, they had a vet in Andre Miller as their point guard who had a great series. He scored 20 per game in that series. Andre Miller had 32. And they had like Theo Ratliff. But they did have a 25-year-old Andre Iguodala, a 22-year-old Lou Williams, a 20-year-old Thaddeus Young, all starting all these games. So sort of some youthful energy to a young Sixer squad. That was what
Dwight dunk on was it Drew Holiday that he smashed in that game?
On that one? I couldn't tell you, man.
Didn't he get ejected in that series for like a flagrant or something like that? I think.
Samuel D'Alembert elbow.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he was on the team for sure, so that sounds right.
He got suspended, in fact, didn't he, for that? Yeah.
Maybe that's why it went to 6 in the end. So anyway, there's a little fight there in the first round. Maybe that's similar here to the Jazz too. So we'll see. Yeah. You think, Trey, that they're going to take care of business in game 5 and it is the douchebag sweep?
Yeah, to me, it's looking like Donovan Mitchell was right, and he should have played in game 1. I think that was just the perfect storm for the Grizzlies to steal a win. They had just come off the play-in tournament. They'd played a whole bunch of high-stakes games at the end of the regular season. Meanwhile, the Jazz were hoping to get Donovan Mitchell back after 18 games missed, or I guess it was probably 17 at that point, but they were hoping to get him back. They get the sudden news right before the game tips that they don't have him back. They just threw him off, and they still almost won that game, to be honest. So, yeah, give me the Jazz in game 5.
Yeah, what do you think, Lee? Is this one over?
Yeah, it is. I really think Utah just know that they are the better team. They're deeper, and the Grizzlies are having to rely a little bit more on sort of someone having a huge game like a Ja Morant. And I think that even though he had another good game there last night, but I think they can sort of live with him or the other guys. It's not both, and that's the problem with the Grizzlies. They're just an inexperienced team, showing it a little bit in these last couple of games, and that's the way it should be. When you're the number 1 seed, and you've been together, they've got that continuity in the Utah Jazz. You want to start to see it in the playoffs, and again, after the sluggish start or the bad start, they have shown that, because when it's winning time, they've just got the experience to pull away from the Grizzlies. And I think going back to Utah, they know they don't want to go back to Memphis to have to play another game. They want to wrap this series up and get ready for round 2.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, you can't turn it off with Memphis. I love that. Like, even when they're down, like Gobert had a huge third quarter, and it looked like, okay, here we go. Jazz are going to put this one away. And sure enough, that start to the fourth quarter, and it's suddenly a game. And we get into these like one possession moments here where, yeah, maybe the experience of the Jazz and the vets like Conley and Bogdanovich hit a huge 3 in the corner too. It's coming through. But that's okay. These reps are good, right? Task, like, this is a good season. If Memphis loses in 5 here to the Utah Jazz, as we're talking up the Jazz as a potential, finals team or how far they could go, you're not going to be angry with this, right? As a Grizzlies fan, getting into the playoffs to begin with, and then putting up at least a fight against a good team. Is this a positive year for them?
No doubt. It's a very, very positive year. All these guys coming through, playing together, playing hard. Second youngest team in the NBA for sure. And they can look at the Utah Jazz as their prototype, as their model, as trying to get deeper and deeper. The Jazz have guys. We're talking about these NBA finals or NBA playoffs comparisons throughout history. Teams that sort of do it by committee. The Jazz are one of them with their superstar light in Donovan Mitchell, and the same goes for Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. So yeah, they should try and emulate what the Grizzlies are or what the Jazz are doing. So of course they should be super positive about their season. No one really expected them to do it. They did in the Western Conference. They'd be like a 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They had a freaking great year.
Any concern, Lee, that the Jazz are up 3-1 in this series?
No.
Didn't go well last year.
No, it didn't. But again, I think this is where the bubble helped the road team, because there wasn't that home court that they could come back to. And, in Utah, it is a tough place to win. They've been very, very good there this season. They always are, because it's just a tough environment. So I think that is really a big factor as the difference between what happened here and in Orlando, because Utah's going to go home. Their fans expect a victory. They want to see a victory, and they're just the better team. So they should be able to close it out. And I don't really – this one could get ugly here for the Grizzlies just because of what's at stake here. And I just feel that Utah are going to try to make sure that this one doesn't get anywhere near close. They just want to finish it off.
Later this week, game 5 there between the Jazz and the Grizzlies in Utah. See if they can close it out. We're going to get to last night's Eastern Conference game, Sixers-Wizards. Wizards stay alive. They avoid the brooms, avoid the sweep there. And we'll start looking ahead to tonight's 3 games. But first, a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
Yeah, so guys, last night, Lincoln made dinner. It was great.
Hey.
Yeah, it was ribeye steaks. Twice baked potatoes and maple bourbon carrots.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it was awesome. Delicious. Great Memorial Day meal there. And so since he made dinner, I volunteered to clean up. And my God, that simple meal I just described, he used literally every pot and pan in the place. It was a disaster, the kitchen. And, it's time to get Freshly back in the rotation. Skeets, you mentioned it before. Low-key, underrated part of Freshly is the elimination of cleanup. Oh, my God. I was in there for like an hour and a half. It took me longer to clean up than it did for him to make the meal. Anyway, Freshly offers chef-made, nutrient-packed, delicious meals delivered fresh to your door. No cooking required. Ordering is easy. Visit freshly.com and choose from over 30 delicious, satisfying, better-for-you meals like steak peppercorn, sausage baked penne, and their chicken pesto bowl. Delicious. Your meals are always delivered fresh, never frozen, and are ready to heat and enjoy in just 3 minutes. With new meals added each week, Freshly brings the convenience of chef-made, nutritionist-designed classics right to your kitchen. Right now, Freshly is offering our listeners $40 off your first 2 orders when you go to freshly.com/nodunks. Stop stressing about dinner and cleaning up after dinner. Go to freshly.com/nodunks for $40 off your first 2 orders. That's freshly.com/nodunks for $40 off your first 2 orders.
For most of us, learning a second language in high school or college, not exactly a high point in our academic careers. I took French for a couple of years, and all I can remember is le fromage dans le frigo, which I'm not even sure I'm actually saying correctly. But now, thanks to Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app, there's an addictively fun and easy way to learn a new language. Whether you're going to be traveling abroad, now that we can eventually do that, connecting in a deeper way with family, or you just got some free time. Babbel teaches bite-sized language lessons that you'll actually use in the real world. Babbel's 15-minute lessons make it the perfect way to learn a new language on the go. 15 minutes, that's key. I love that length. I'm doing yoga right now. Shout out to Yoga with Adrian. And I love that these are like little 15, 20-minute episodes. I think that really helps hook you, because you're not committing like an hour or 2 to these things. You need that little 10, 15-minute nugget there. And that's what Babbel's doing. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel lessons were created by over 100 language experts. Their teaching method has been scientifically proven to be effective. With Babbel, you can choose from 14 different languages, including Spanish, Italian, German, and oh yeah, French is there. So I'm going to learn a little bit more than le fromage dans le frigo or Jean-Pierre dans le stade. Right now, when you purchase a 3-month Babbel subscription, you'll get an additional 3 months for free. That's 6 months for the price of 3. Just go to Babbel.com and use promo code NODUNKS. That's BABBEL.com. Code NODUNKS for an extra 3 months free. Babbel, language for life. New world order.
Battle World Order.
Battle World Order. Le fromage dans le frigo for life.
Oui, bonjour.
All right. Well, I started reading the ad copy for Bombas socks, and it's all about how comfortable it is to work out in Bombas. And I realized I hadn't sweat my Bombas in years, on purpose anyway, because I'm a foot sweater. But I hadn't worked out in them in a long time. So I put them on this morning for my workout and had a VSP, a very solid pump. Actually, didn't think they were workout socks, in all honesty. I know you guys have them, but I thought they were too thick. They're just so soft and cushiony. I had no idea they were moisture wickers. I thought they were just hangers, just nice cushiony hangers. But my sweaters were cool and comfy after my tread boot camp today, because my Bombas performance socks are stitched with special moisture wicking yarn and temperature regulating vents that allow cool air to flow in and prevent overheating. They come with a pillow-like tab to save you from blisters. Stay Up technology. What a special arch-hugging system and an extra layer of cushiony comfort I talked about there. They come in different styles for every sport. And like all their socks, for every pair of Bombas performance socks you buy, they donate a pair to someone in need. They've donated over 45 million pairs so far. Go to bombas.com/nodunks today and get 20% off your first order. That's BOMBAS. Bombas.com for 20% off. Bombas.com/nodunks.
All right, let's get to the Eastern Conference game from last night. Lot to talk about, actually, with this one, guys. Joel Embiid leaves with a sore knee. I believe we're waiting on an MRI right this second here on Tuesday morning. 76ers lose to the Wizards 122-114. So Washington lives to see another day. They will at least get this to Game 5, Trey. Again, we got Embiid to talk about. I know there's the Hack-a-Ben I'm sure we'll get into. Where do you want to start with?
Well, last week I said this series sucks. Doesn't even feel like the playoffs. But I've completely changed my mind, Skeets. Last night's Game 4 was the best game of the postseason. JD, roll that beautiful beef footage.
Russell Westbrook had 21 rebounds. That's a lot of roast beef. It's about time. We got a playoff beef. No dunks. We love roast beef, which is rebounds.
Yeah, dog. Not counting the two mystery play-in beefs, our first beef of the playoffs. We had two in the bubble last year. Jokic had one. Giannis had one. One each in the 2019, 18, and 17 playoffs. This could very well be the last beef of the year. I hate to say it, but it's possible. Nonetheless, Westbrook finished with a triple-double. A great win for the Wizards. Somehow only the Heat got swept out of the playoffs this year. I don't get that, but the real story, Skeets, is how Westbrook got those 21 rebounds against a team like the Sixers. You mentioned it. Joel Embiid only played 11 minutes before leaving at the end of the first quarter. He took a hard fall after a layup attempt against Robin Lopez. Teams calling it a sore right knee. When he landed at first, it kind of looked like he had hurt his back. He was kind of grabbing at his hip. It was just a really weird landing. His right foot landed very hard. It kind of jammed up his knee. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. This is bad news if Embiid's going to be missing serious time here. Obviously, the Sixers, I think, can win Game 5 without Embiid. They can end this series pretty easily. But after that, I don't know. I mean, the Sixers are going to need Joel Embiid to be career-high 36 points, Joel Embiid, to go to the conference finals, to win, to get to the NBA finals. You know, they need him to be their MVP candidate. But if he's going to be hobbling around there, if this is going to be something that lingers for the rest of the playoffs, this is exactly what Sixers fans did not want to see last night.
Yeah, awkward landing. He did play a couple more minutes, and then he exited the game. He was also killing it once again. You know, he
had 6 rebounds in 11 minutes. There's probably no way Westbrook goes for a beef if Embiid stays out there the whole night.
Yeah, and when he left the game, they're up 20-12. They're up 8 points, and then over the rest of the game, obviously outscored quite significantly as the Wizards stay alive. This is bad news bears here for the Sixers. Now we're waiting, right, Lily? We do not know. I mean, this is Embiid. Many times, this has happened. He's had to leave, and then maybe it's a game or two. And I think I agree with Trey. Like, I'm not going to be picking the Wizards to come back here down 3-0, even if Embiid doesn't see another minute of action in this series. But the landscape of the Eastern Conference changes significantly if he is severely injured or obviously out, if it's terrible and something's torn in that knee as we wait for the MRI. This could be horrible. And unfortunately, you have to almost not assume the worst, but it's got to be in play with Embiid, who's had all these unfortunate injuries before.
He tends to miss more than one game when he misses a game too. So hopefully this is, just more a precaution last night. It's like, listen, we can probably win this game without you. Just go off the court now and start the treatment. But another, just one of those awkward landings, and he's a big guy as well. You sort of feel it when he goes down there, and he kind of clutched at it almost straight away there. So, for a guy who does have some injury history, it didn't look good to me, but let's just hope that it was one of those ones that looked worse than it did. But as far as the Wizards, I mean, look, they kept fighting and they had to fight to the death. I mean, the Sixers had chances still to win this. I mean, Tyrese Maxey was giving them quite a bit. I mean, you could feel that the Sixers wanted to show that, hey, we can win this game here without Embiid, but The Wizards didn't let them do it. Hachimura, I thought, was fantastic for them. I love Kevin Harlan. Anytime Hachimura scores a basket, he loves saying his name. But yeah, I think now if the Sixers go into Game 5 knowing, let's say, Embiid is missing, then it just changes the way that they can at least set up the game, and they don't have to wonder whether or not he's going to come back. And I think that's a factor last night. It's like he's out of the game and he didn't come back, so they had to adjust on the fly. But now they have a little bit more time to plan here and see how they're going to figure it out. But yeah, the long-term prospects here for the Sixers obviously changes everything as far as how far they can go in the playoffs if Embiid isn't able to go any further. But we'll see. I just didn't like the way that he sort of flew in the air and then landed. It was like, oh, yuck. So hoping all the best for him, of course.
Yeah, Tass, I mean, this is not far-fetched to say if Embiid is healthy and playing, and like Trey said, is a 35-13 monster, Sixers have a chance to win the title. I mean, you got that guy who's an MVP candidate. And if they don't, there's zero chance at all. Like, okay, get by the Wizards? Sure. I assume you think that's possible without him, but would they even beat the Hawks? Would they beat they wouldn't beat the Nets or Bucks? I think we'd agree on that, right? Like their season would be toast here if Embiid is ruled out for the postseason.
Yeah, I know Sixers fans today are looking at that first quarter fall and taking solace in the fact that he played 4 minutes after that and stayed on the floor. But I'm not at all, because this happened to him in his rookie season as well. He fell, he played through it, and then they realized he had an MRI on the meniscus. He had an issue there, and then his season was over. It's not necessarily meniscus injury by any means, but at the same time, he falls, he holds his back, and then it's knee soreness that holds him out, or that takes him out of the game. And I am definitely worried for the future. He fights through everything and he will play. But for them to be a championship team, he's got to be able to carry this team on his back. So he's not playing Game 5, I don't think, and they'll figure it out from there. But they go from potential NBA finalist with hopes and dreams that he is his awesome self that he was during the regular season. He's never been a guy that's been able to carry his team in the playoffs. This is his first test to be an actual MVP candidate in the playoffs as well. But he's, fulfilled that so far through his first 3 games in one quarter. He'd been playing great with the great team he has around him. This is totally different. So I'm looking forward to some positive news in Philadelphia. That's all you can really hope for. I mean, Derek Bodner's got a good report on it on The Athletic if you want to read up on it. And everybody's just holding their breath, really. Yeah. Derek Bodner, Doc Rivers, everybody in the Philadelphia organization holding their breath, just waiting to see, because otherwise it ain't going to be pretty.
There was a reason that I wanted to start with the Jazz-Grizzlies game. I thought I could buy us some time before we got to this game and maybe having a result coming in from the MRI from the Sixers there with Embiid. But we still, as of recording this, obviously do not know. But you're right, Lee. I mean, this was a tie game, 108-108, with like a little less than 3 minutes to go, I guess. You had Maxey hitting big shots. Furkan Korkmaz was actually pretty big for the Sixers. Everybody contributing for the Wizards. They're fighting to stay alive. They don't want to go to Cancun just yet. But then we saw the Wizards. Scotty Brooks goes with the Hack-a-Ben, the Hack-a-Simmons, the Slap-a-Simo, the attacking Aussie. Yeah,
Papa Ben.
Yeah, and whatever you want to call it, it's the Hack-a-Shack. And what I mean is obviously the intentional fouling there of Ben Simmons whenever possible, put him in the line. And he went, 4 for 8 over the final, 250, let's call it. So 5 of 11 overall at the free throw line. He hadn't hit one coming into this game, so he actually had a good game at the line. And it's a talking point from this one, Lily. Your guy Ben's stepping up there and only always hitting 1 or 2. But Doc Rivers says, "Hey man, check the math on that.
Yeah,
that's good. We're fine. We'll live with that." It's when he's missing both of them, and he didn't. So everybody, shut up. I'm not taking him out, of course, because what he can do all over the floor, especially defensively. What's your take on your fellow Aussie there, man? It must really hurt you to see a fellow Aussie not be able to knock down free throws. It's going to be your nightmare, I would think.
Well, listen, it's a smart play, I think, by Scott Brooks, even though Doc Rivers is statistically, factually correct as well. A point per possession is okay. But listen, if you're going to get hacked, you've got to go to the free throw line. You can only do it, of course, with more than 2 minutes remaining there. So Scott Brooks was basically like, make your free throws, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't. I mean, he could do 50%, but he only needs to make it, say, 75% of those, and then the Sixers may win the game, and it maybe backfires on Scotty Brooks, but it didn't last night. So you expect in Philadelphia they'll probably employ the same sort of thing if it gets to that situation, and just say, listen, but he can't hit his free throws. I mean, he's 5 for 20 for the series. That's simply not good enough. You know, you can't really blame the Wizards for trying to get into his head and saying, we don't think he can make these free throws. We think it's going to cost your team. You could see the look on Simmons' face as well. He didn't want to be at that free throw line. You know, he did knock down a couple, but he wasn't.
Was he always missing the first one, or am I crazy too? Like badly, and then it felt like he would always then sort of figure it out and splash the second.
I can't remember
It
exactly.
happened like 3 times, I think. I don't know about the
yeah.
fourth one, but yeah.
But you know, that's I mean, it's a bit of gamesmanship. It's not a dirty tactic. It's a tactic, and it worked for the Wizards. They got the win. So if you're Ben Simmons, make your free throws. I mean, at least make more than 50% of them. I mean, that's what it comes down to. So
yeah, I think that's what Doc Rivers was saying too. Not shoot 50%, literally just shoot 60%. 1.2 points per possession is good. 1 point per possession is pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, literally if you shoot 60% for a game, that would be a huge improvement for Simmons at this point. But you can't have your lead ball handler nervous to take free throws. That's been the problem with Simmons all along. The 3-point shooting, sure. Everybody would think that's awesome if Ben Simmons suddenly starts shooting threes, but he just needs the confidence to go to the line and be able to be ready to shoot them, knowing that he's going to go to the line. The legacy of Kendrick Perkins lives on, man. It's just amazing. Scotty Brooks saw Kendrick Perkins being sent to the line so many times back in the Thunder day. He had to go deep into the archives for the slap-a-simo. It really felt like we'd gotten these fouls out of the league. You don't see it very often anymore, but it came back in a playoff game. What a throwback.
Yeah, the thing is, like, his form isn't grotesque either. It's not like
it's not flat. Like, they're very flat.
They're definitely flat. But as far as he steps up there, he's got nice like mechanics on his arm shooting. It's like, I don't understand how it can be so bad. Again, at this stage of his career, we know that the shooting is his weakness. You would think at least at the free throw line, he'd be better than he is. But mentally, loneliest place in the world.
I'd love to see him do, Lee. I would love, especially being like a big guy that obviously is an incredible passer. You know he's got great touch. Go underhand, Simo. I'd love to see Ben Simmons throw a couple underhanded free throws up there. I feel like
he's too cool for it.
I know.
Yeah.
It never has to.
Too cool
most
for
of
it.
these guys will never do it. But yeah, especially him. You're right. I just feel like he'd actually be really good at it. I have no idea why I think that, but
he can throw it over his head right now. I mean, you know, you may as well just try anything because he was 0 for 14 or something like that at one point in the series, which is
that's pretty astonishing.
That's awful.
So he's on a hot streak, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's on fire.
Exactly.
He's on fire. I mean, Tass, we're going to see this probably moving forward, I assume, in close game situations. I almost think other coaches would be crazy not to put him there, if especially like Embiid's out there, because it does have like an effect on other things going on, right? Of course, allows you to always set up your defense. You know, the ball is not going to Embiid, so maybe then you're not getting in foul trouble because you can send the guy to go wrap him up. So you're using your fouls sort of slyly there. I don't know. I think we'll see this again in a potential series. Either Nate McMillan or Tibbs doing it, whoever moves on from that series, and maybe even in a conference finals if the Sixers get that far.
If teams are down, if they're desperate, if they're getting beat, then they pull something out. But it shouldn't be. I don't think the Sixers will be blowing teams out for them to have to use it. I think it's a special situation here with the Wizards. They're getting pumped, and they just needed absolutely anything. I think it's wild seeing Ben Simmons shoot liners. I think it's sort of a product of him only playing inside for all of his career. Back to college where he just plays inside, so he never needed arc on his shot. Like, would you ever see a guard, who shoots, anywhere from 16 feet out shoot liners like this? No way. Like it would have an arc. Like there literally is no arc. So I think it's just a product of paint and in, and that's it. And so it's not fun watching those things, but it was a wild game that the Wizards somehow won with Russell Westbrook shooting 3 of 19. They pull it out, and Bradley Beal having a poor shooting night. It was bonkers. They're just lucky that Robin Lopez came off the bench and hooked him to death. He shot 8 of 11. Like the variety of different shots in this series, from Russie banking shots to Benny lining his free throws to Robin hooking them to death. It is kind of a unique, it's just there's a breadth of different shot types in this series. So it's kind of fun in that way. But yeah, I kind of want to see it over. Like, everybody had a bad game in this one. It was just like a war of attrition here. And I mean, the Wizards were fine. Rui Hachimura, I think, was the key for them, actually. Robin Lopez aside, talking about his hook shots. Rui Hachimura had that big left-handed dunk on Tobias Harris and got a technical foul called on him, the first of his career. He said, I would never, ever think that I'd get a technical foul, but he just had to let a yelp go. And that was a taunting foul on Tobias Harris. He's just so nice, but he felt good. Rui Hachimura, the growth of him is a good sign for them going forward. But let's get this series over with. I've kind of had enough.
I mean, I've done a 180 on the whole Hacka strategy. Like, I used to hate it because it's like, oh God, free throws. The only person that likes this is Lee Ellis. But now I love the drama of it. Like, I do love like the concept of like, this guy's a professional basketball player. This guy's one of the greatest basketball players in the world. Really, of all time, when you start crunching the numbers, how many people that are in the world and how many actually played in the NBA. And it's like, this guy's afraid to go and shoot by himself, a 15-footer. And it's in his head, and obviously he starts overthinking it. I love it now. That slow walk to the line, if they get fouled in the way in the back and they're under their own rim there, I am all for it. And I hope we see it again. And I hope he does better. But it's a lot of fun, Lee. I'm all in, man. You got me into free throws, you sicko. This is great.
The Simmons haters were loving it too last night on Twitter because they're just trying to make fun of him and mock him and that. And again, you're going to open yourself up to ridicule if that's the situation you are. Like you say, an all-star, potentially all-NBA, very likely an all-defensive player. So you've got all the enormous talent and accolades there. But if you can't shoot your free throws, the fans, especially on the road, love putting you under that pressure. And again, you can tell so much, I think, just by looking in the face of him and in his eyes. And he's like, I don't want to be here, but I'm also going to just shoot and try my best. And the ones that go in look beautiful too. They just knock in. It's so weird. I mean, because Kendrick Perkins, I mean, he looked ugly at the free throw line. Like he looked like he was throwing buckets at the hoop there. Simmons doesn't. I mean, he's
much more of a DeAndre Jordan. Like, I always thought DeAndre Jordan had a nice looking free throw, and he was a brick fest as well. The difference is that Simmons is out on the perimeter. If he was a 6'10" guy who's one of the best defenders in the league, who shoots 50% at the line, but we called him a center, people will be like, cool, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Great passing, big guy.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I agree with that, Trey. I guess that's starting to change now, just because everybody is pretty decent when it comes to shooting, especially at the free throw line. But that's a great point. It's weird him being a perimeter player, he looks shook. There's no doubt. Yeah. And by the way, he must not be great at shooting free throws even in practice, because we haven't heard hey, never misses in practice. Dwight Howard never missed a free throw apparently in practice, but he couldn't get him to knock him down in the game. But we haven't heard that with Simmons.
No, and second shout out here to Andre Miller, because he had a lineup the way that he shot the ball. Right? Like when you think about him,
I like it.
He basically just like put the ball there and just sort of almost like flicked it from there. So
well,
but
Papa
he was
shot.
able to do it. Yeah. So maybe Simo needs to work there with Andre Miller next time. So he's ready for the dimmer sim, is what I call it. Yeah.
And let me give you a quick check-in on Davis Bertans last night. Pretty decent for Bertans. In only 23 minutes, 15 points. He hit 3 threes, shot 4-7 overall, perfect at the line, and even contributed with a block. Yeah, Bertans, and
that was
4 rebounds. Yeah,
I
know.
Generous stat then, I think, wasn't
it? Of course. Half these stats are generous, man. And look, the Wizards... just talk about Westbrook for 1 second here. He had the triple-double, but he is are we ever going to see a player like Westbrook again? And I mean this in the sense, the guy went 3 of 19 last night. And actually, if you watched the game, there's no way they win if he doesn't play. Not doubt in my mind they don't win that game if he doesn't play, just with obviously his effort and what else he does. It's just so incredible. I don't think we're going to have many 3 of 19 shooting performances. And you'll be like, yeah, they would have lost the game though if he didn't play. It's like, doesn't make a lot of sense. Do the math on that one, Doc Rivers. That one's really strange. But it's true. It really is. Like, he's just, he was all upset. Dwight Howard was touching to talk more about free throws, because I know that's what you guys tune in for. Did you see when between free throws for Westbrook, Lee, Dwight just did the whole thing where he jumped up and sort of like just touched the rim, hung on a little bit, had it bounce. Westbrook was livid.
Yeah.
He was
Westbrook
livid.
was doing the same thing to Ben Simmons.
I know. I know. The gamesmanship, man, when it comes to the free throw line, it's next level. All right. Anything else to add to this game, guys? Gentlemen's sweep. I'm feeling like all around, even without Embiid, does anybody want to take the Wizards to make this interesting? Let's say Embiid doesn't play. I'm with you, Tass. Even if they're like, no, okay, he's not going to be out for the postseason. Doc Rivers is usually pretty cautious when it comes to like injuries. I doubt he plays in Game 5. Can the Wizards take this back to the phone booth there in Washington or no?
There's a chance, but I think, the Sixers get up for one game with Ben Simmons being their lead guy, taking it to the hole, because I imagine Joel Embiid sits. So, you know, Ben likes to shine when the spotlight is on him. He likes to take that challenge when Embiid is out, and I think he'll drop a 20 spot, a lot of layups, a lot of dunkaroos. But, I would take the Sixers. Regardless of Joel Embiid's status, I'd take them at home.
All I was thinking about is thank God this didn't happen in Game 5. Like, let's say like the Sixers had blown one and like they could have like wrapped up the series and then the injury occurs and it's like the classic, like, see, this is why you just try and close out a team when you can, get it over with so you don't risk an injury. Of course, that didn't happen, so it doesn't matter.
That's why the Sixers need a win in Game 5 because it's looking like the 4-5 series, the Knicks and Hawks. That one's probably going long. So if you're able to rest Embiid in Game 5, you get another couple of days of rest. Then you're waiting for that next series to come. Maybe you somehow got yourself a week of rest for Joel Embiid. That would be huge during this series. We did see a fan on the court last night. What's going on here, man?
I mean, like what's there to say at this point? Another, I assume, drunk. I don't know, another idiot at the very least, sprinting out there. What did he do? He just ran around, slapped the backboard, and then got tackled. Nice tackle by the one security guard. I mean, if you see the one camera, he just like sprints down the aisle, and I guess there are people saying, "How is that possible, Tass? How is that possible? He could get out there?" Well, I mean, it's have you ever been to an arena? You ever seen the floor? I mean, I know they have a lot of security guards, but they're not everywhere. And I guess I don't know if he caught somebody sleeping or whatever, or was like distracted, and he was out there. Like it's almost shocking it doesn't happen more, and heaven forbid it does, and that's why they cut away and all that. I don't know if you have anything to add to this.
I don't mind the idea going around of the entire fan base being punished and not being able to go to the next game.
Wow.
Because of a situation like this. They do it in Europe somewhere. They do it in, I don't know what sport it was, but if it was football, if a guy runs onto the field that they basically can't have fans the next game, I don't mind that idea. It is surprising that it doesn't happen more often. That is why we love the game, because fans can get close. We don't want plexiglass out there. This is, one reason why you get to sit up close. It is such a unique situation being right on a court that you don't get in other sports. But I think, we would teach fans to not run on the frickin' floor. If this is a very, very rare occurrence. Like, we are going to lump it in with the bottle thrower and the popcorn tosser, but it is different, right? Like it is totally different. But I don't know. People are just nuts. Since March 2020, things have gone freaking berserk. People are losing their brains. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their brains. I would put it on that. I know this guy is just whatever he was. He just made a boner move, and he deserved a harder tackle. He deserved a little bit more of a rock bottom from that security guard than he got. Although it was, a good
nice tackle, good form.
Oh, Dwight Howard was ready. I feel like he was standing over him saying, "You're lucky the security guards got you. Otherwise, you're taking a shot from me, Dwight Howard, the biggest shoulders in the game." He was like standing right over the guy as they're dragging him off the court. I don't know. Just act like a normal person. That's all it comes down to. Just be a normal fan out there. Don't throw things at people. Don't run on the court. Just boo. Just
Am I a hypocrite though, Trey, if I enjoy this when it happens in a baseball game when some dummy gets out there and runs around and tries to avoid the security guards, but I am not a fan of this in an NBA game? Does that make me a hypocrite? Okay.
It does.
Yeah.
But it is fun to see somebody with that great expanse of field, right?
Well,
that's the difference out there.
Yeah.
You got there's a little bit more of a chase element to it. Everybody's compacted on a basketball court.
Lee, anything to add to this guy? I mean, he obviously got taken away in handcuffs, and we'll see what happens next. He'll be banned, they're saying, of course. Is this enough? Do we have to go next level, like something like Tass is saying, where we unfortunately have to punish everybody? And will we get to a point where you won't be able to sit courtside like this?
Yeah, the problem is if you make an announcement like that, you give someone the power to say, man, I can really screw it up for everybody if I do something like that. But Scotty Brooks, I think after the game had it right. He just said, stay home. We don't want your money. Like there are great fans in Boston and Philadelphia and New York. There are tons of great ones. Unfortunately, the ones we're talking about are the idiots who screw it up for everybody else. So, the old you'd never tell your customers to go away. But in this case, go away. Don't come.
Fuck off.
Yeah, seriously, don't. Your money's not worth it. No one's impressed. No one's having a great time going, oh, that was great. You spat on a player. Well done. You're a legend. Just stay home, go away and do something else with your life because you're just not wanted. You're not valued. No one cares about you. So go away. Well, no one cares about you at the game, I should say.
Yes. In the NBA world, we do not care.
In the NBA world, we just don't want you at the arenas because this is the thing: it potentially does lead to a situation where they have to say,
"Of course,
sorry, we can't have fans because one or two behave like idiots and spoil it for the rest of us, so everyone has to suffer for it, and that's not the situation we want."
Yeah, it is. I will say it's funny when you think back. We've had other instances, of course, where fans get on the floor. I mean, I don't know when it was, but remember we've had like fans go up to LeBron and ask for a selfie.
Melo, someone went up to Melo.
Yeah,
a little kid hugged Melo.
Yeah. There's this kid, and the one instance definitely was a woman. I'm not saying that changes it because I remember saying at the time, like, this is cool. It's a fun moment. Nobody's getting hurt, but it's like, I don't want to like applaud this either because then it just like gives more and more people the idea like, oh, I guess I can do this or I can try this. I get it, they're different. And I'm assuming, I don't know this dummy last night. I'm guessing he's got too many pops in him and he's got some bet going on and all this going on in all these other arenas. He's like, oh, I'll be a clown and I'll just run out there and slap the backboard. And like, he lost a shoe in the mix, tighten up your shoes if you're going to run on the floor, you idiot.
Yeah. And that comes back to the deterrent factor that I was talking about yesterday. Like make it so these guys know, hang on. That guy went to jail, and he was embarrassed and shamed. That's sort of what I could be facing here if I go out there and run on the court for like 5 seconds of glory. And that's what you want to do. You want people to think it's not worth it, even though I have had a few beers and, my dickhead mates are encouraging me to go and do it. So,
All right. Let's take one more break and then we'll start looking ahead to tonight's 3 games. We'll do a little fill in the blank fun. What do you got, Trey?
The beginning of any journey can feel daunting. You're not sure you're heading in the right direction, and maybe you don't know exactly what to prepare for. With Credit Karma, you can become more informed about what's ahead. Credit Karma's game-changing technology shows you tailored offers for credit cards and personal loans that you're more likely to be approved for, so you can apply with more confidence. They use your credit and other financial information to show you custom recommendations. Whether you want cash back, travel rewards, or to consolidate debt, Credit Karma can help you find the offers that fit your goals. With a selection of options and approval odds, you have the power to make informed decisions. So go to creditkarma.com/nodunks today to see your offers on the Credit Karma app. Apply with confidence today. Go to creditkarma.com/nodunks or the Credit Karma app.
Did you know that hydration can be tied to improved mood, better focus, and mental clarity, more energy, clearer skin, and not having to spend the night in hospital on an IV drip after spending the day under the blazing hot sun on a cricket field because you were boozed up the night before and didn't drink water before playing, even though your mother told you to do exactly that? Yeah, me neither. Water alone doesn't hydrate you as quickly as drinks with an optimized blend of electrolytes. Hydrant is a refreshing drink mix powder made with 4 key electrolytes: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and zinc. It's made with real fruit juice powder and no artificial sweeteners or synthetic colors. No nonsense, all science. Hydrant Sleep is a new bedtime mix carefully formulated to promote restful sleep and hydration. Hydrant Sleep includes melatonin, magnesium, L-theanine, GABA, and chamomile to promote restful, high-quality sleep. Plus, it's backed by a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you don't love it, just send it back for a full refund. I love that. We've got a special deal for our listeners to save 20% off your first order, or subscribe and save 30% off on your first subscription order. Go to drinkhydrant.com/nodunks or enter our promo code NODUNKS at checkout. That's drinkhydrant, drinkhydrant.com/nodunks and enter promo code NODUNKS for 20% off your first order. drinkhydrant.com/nodunks and enter promo code NODUNKS to save 20%. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast Hydrant, where water meets wellness.
Okay, fill in the blank fun. Let's look ahead to tonight's games. First one, Lee, I want you to get us started here. Fill in the blank, okay? The Celtics have a blank chance of extending this series tonight versus the Brooklyn Nets.
0, really.
0?
Yeah, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. The Nets,
Wow.
Didn't expect to even be playing this game, really. And now they're at home. They know the Milwaukee Bucks are resting, getting ready for that second round. And I think you're going to see the Nets make sure that this series doesn't drag out and they don't have to go to Boston for a potential Game 6. We've seen, of course, some injury concerns there with Kemba Walker. I'm not sure actually for his status for tonight, but if he doesn't play, it's virtually impossible to see. Jason Tatum, who's been great, he's been fighting, and we know he's capable of going for 50, but there's just not enough other support there for him. So the Nets are at full strength. No major injury concerns, of course, there. I think KD, James Harden, and Kyrie are just going to make sure that this series ends tonight convincingly. I think it's going to be over. I think it's going to be a blowout too. So don't really see a way here for Boston to extend the series.
Do you think Luke Cornett will take a dump on the Brooklyn Nets logo tonight?
He should. Why not? Why not?
Yeah. A little revenge there for Kyrie stepping on Lucky's face.
Make him the Luke Cornets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very nice. Maybe he just lies down there. He's like, I'm the only net here. Okay, so you got a 0%. Does anyone want to go higher than that? I know Tass, when we were talking about the last game, you were pointing out that I think it was KD, right, was saying, we ain't coming back here. We're not coming back to Boston. We're done with this place. So I assume you think the Nets close this out tonight.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go 0. I'd go at least 1%.
Okay.
Because there's at least a 1% chance that they win. Clearly, their best player, Kevin Durant, says, we don't want to come back. They're going to be ready to kick ass. And yeah, I mean, the Celtics obviously have some hope, but that's about it. It's a lot of hope. A lot of hope going into to Brooklyn, where they haven't won a game in this series, so I doubt it's going to happen tonight when the Celtics have some motivation to not go back and see Larry the Leprechaun. They don't want to see Larry.
No, the Nets don't. Yeah, Trey.
Larry.
Trey, you think it's over? Just quickly.
I'm going even higher. Skates. 3% chance the Celtics get a win here. Jason Tatum, after his 50-point game, said, sometimes games like this are needed. One of those games like that is needed tonight for Jason Tatum. That's the recipe for the Celtics. A huge Tatum game. The Nets kind of just slacking on this one, looking across the court and seeing a lot of injuries on the Celtics, taking their foot off the gas, and then surprise, whoops, the Nets have a bad shooting night. Meanwhile, Jason Tatum goes off. That's how the Celtics win it. Is it likely? No, this one's probably over tonight, but I've got 3 times as much confidence as Tass does and infinitely more confidence than Lee does that it could possibly happen.
All right, let us know on the stream team. Let us know in the YouTube comments with all these fill in the blanks. Let's see your answers. Let's go to the next one here. Trey, I want you to look into your crystal ball, okay? Fill in the blank. The Blazers Nuggets Game 5 hero tonight will be blank.
Looking into my crystal ball, and the name I keep seeing is Michael Porter Jr., your Game 5 hero. Had a decent Game 1, 25 points, his best scoring output of the series, but he went 1 of 10 from 3 in the Nuggets loss. In the next 2 Nuggets wins, 18 points and 15 points. Fair, but he completely disappeared in Game 4. 3 points on just 3 shot attempts in 22 minutes, a blowout loss for the Nuggets. Michael Malone called his team out after the loss, said they were playing soft. Portland did a very good job, I thought, on MPJ in Game 4. Norm was all over him. There was a lot of help on screens to not give up wide open jumpers. to MPJ, but he can score in other ways too. He's going to have size on Norm Powell tonight. Just turn and shoot over him in the post. That's an easy way to get some different shots in the flow of the game. Hit the glass, get some putbacks. Michael Porter Jr., he's tall. He can make an impact on the glass. He said that he wants to impose his will in Game 5. Let's see it. He's got to be the number 2 for the Nuggets to have a chance.
We talked about Norm's performance, Lee, after Game 4, and I went through some of his great games as a Raptor in playoff series over the years. In many series, he's actually stepped up in big moments. He's usually a Game 5 guy. It's Game 6 Clay, it's Game 5 Norm. So could we see another Norm performance? And if not, what's your answer here for this fill in the blank?
Yeah, well, that's I wasn't really thinking Norm, even though he did have that great game, because Norm tends to be the opposite, where he has a great game and then he does go missing for a couple of games. But what about Austin Rivers doing it again? I mean, he was fantastic in that Game 4 victory in that fourth quarter. Now he's at home in front of his home fans. Can Austin Rivers do it again? Because tonight's game is pivotal. Very
easy, Magic Johnson. Easy.
And if you are the Blazers and Damian Lillard especially, who had by his own standards a pretty bad game, even though they blew out the Nuggets in Game 4, this is the crucial one that Blazers have to win so they get a chance to close it out at home in Game 6. So I expect a much better performance from Lillard, knowing what's at stake here. So I'm gonna hedge and say one superstar, Lillard, and then have some fun. And hopefully Austin Rivers can give us another storyline to talk about, because he's fun to watch when he gets cooking and he talks trash to the bench. He'd be going crazy in front of his home fans there. So I'm having one from each side.
Okay, Tass, where are you going with this? Who's the hero tonight?
Well, the scheduler is the hero. Not starting this game early like he did on Sunday there, or Saturday, I should say. The old 1 o'clock local start for the Blazers Nuggets really threw Michael Porter Jr. off, threw Nikola Jokic off. I would be tempted to start this game early as well, considering Nets Celtics is the one that they have to start early. But I get it. It's a West Coast game, so you're throwing it a little bit later. So he's the winner. He or she is the winner, scheduling this game late. So we get the best performances from everybody, and I do expect MPJ and Jokic to bounce back. Good teams bounce back, so I expect their top 2 players. After not having their best games of the series, both their 2 players having their worst game of the series, I like MPJ and Jokic leading the way here for the Nugs.
Do you think whoever wins tonight, Tass, wins the series? Is it that pivotal? Well, I don't know what the percentage is. It's very high, right? It's like
super high.
Whoever wins Game 5 in a 2-2 series, I don't know, what is it, 80%? Maybe a little bit lower than that. Is it in the 80s, 83%, something like that? Yeah. So, okay, whoever wins tonight is going to win this series? You going that far or no? Anything can happen with
It's higher than the chances of the Celtics winning tonight. That's for sure, yeah. No, I would take it. I would say, yeah, for sure. I think it's what generally happens. I mean, this is why you get home court advantage, so you can get Game 7 at home. So if you win this one, or you can go back to Portland and lose, and then come take care of business. So yeah, this is
although Portland beat Denver once in Denver, right, in a best of 7, so they can win on the road. Yeah, a couple years ago.
It's a different team.
Could be an awesome game. Should be an awesome game. We're hoping it is at the very least. All right, final one. Another now down to best of 3 affair. It's a 2-2 series between the Suns and the Lakers. And Tass, everybody's pretty hyped about what type of LeBron we're going to get tonight, because I don't know what the update is on Anthony Davis. I believe he's questionable. Who knows if he's going to actually play in this game? But I want you to fill in the blank. LeBron's Game 5 stat line tonight versus the Suns will be what? Blank.
Well, I think people are definitely expecting a monster from LeBron, considering Anthony Davis will not be 100% even if he does play. Right. Especially considering LeBron was doing the old nodding. Okay, I get this. At the end of Game 4, I get what you guys are doing to me. I'm coming back with a monster. But I think the monster number is going to be his assist number, because he's going to try and get guys going. And like the Nuggets had a poor game the last game, a lot of the Lakers complementary players had poor games. I expect LeBron to be setting up Dennis Schroeder, who had a horrendous game. Alex Caruso, who had a bad game. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who should be back as well. So those guys are important. So I expect him to get into the double digits in assists. And then, once those guys are creating space for him as he picks the Suns apart, and they're going to have to, pay attention to LeBron as they have all series, then he'll go get his points. So I do expect him to break the 30-point barrier for the first time this season, or for the first time this postseason. So we'll go 32, 9 boards, just short of a triple-double to go along with 12 assists.
Okay, I like it. Getting specific. Trey, have a go at it. What's LeBron's line tonight?
All right. LeBron has played 10 game fives since the 2016 season. He's had 40 or more points in 4 of those games, so I'm going plus 40 on the points. And in fact, I'm going exactly 48 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists, because yesterday was the 14-year anniversary of LeBron scoring the last 25 points against the Detroit Pistons in a game 5. So, yeah, give me that exact same stat line. 48, 9, and 7. 25 straight in the fourth quarter. Throwback Tuesday? Today's Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
Throwback
Taco Tuesday.
Yeah,
Sure.
TBT. Oh, Taco Tuesday. This is a lock.
Oh, wow. Lee, I mean, these guys are high on the game 5 LeBron we're going to see tonight. The Suns are a good defensive team. Let's not forget. It's in Phoenix. Let's not forget that. And who knows with AD, what's your gut say with this one?
Yeah, well, the Suns are 5-point favorite too going into this.
Wow.
I thought that's a little juicy there. I would have had a little bit closer, but yeah, I think clearly Anthony Davis. I would suggest he probably doesn't play in this one. That's what I'm feeling. So in that sense, LeBron, I don't think he's going to get a ton of rebounds because they have got some coverage there in Drummond and Marc Gasol. So LeBron's going to do his focus all his energy on the offensive end, but I think he gets 37 points. 6 rebounds and 13 assists. I think he certainly tries to get those guys involved early. I think that's when he racks up his assists early on. And then if it's not going as planned, then he just sort of takes over and starts putting on one of those just ridiculous performances where he does this, he rubs his shirt like that, and then he steps in and starts hitting threes late in the game. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a pretty special one.
Okay. It sounds like by all these lines that a lot of you have the Lakers winning this pivotal game 5 here. Or is anybody saying, hey, he puts up monster numbers, still may not be enough? I mean, Schroeder needs to play well. Who knows with KCP and his health status? Like, Lakers are a great defense, but they are a little banged up right now, right, Tass? I mean, he could have a monster game, LeBron. I expect he will, but that does not mean necessarily it would be a lock that they would win this game.
Yeah, I expect KCP to come back, but yeah, I mean, their defense is always going to be there every single game. So LeBron just has to make everybody around him better, and he's pretty good at that. Again, like so many guys had poor games, and I didn't even mention Kyle Kuzma, who's having a poor series. Get the confidence from your superstar. It's going to trickle down. If LeBron wants to win this game like they did when they turned the series around after dropping the first game, then they're going to have to step up and play. This is a championship team. And so I believe for sure we'll have a good fight from the Suns, but the Lakers will be ready. They know it's pivotal. LeBron's been in some series before, I believe.
I am very excited for these 2 games tonight. Obviously Nuggets Blazers game 5 and then the Suns Lakers game 5, because it does feel, I mean, it's not a lock, it's not 100%, but man, you win this one, you're feeling pretty good about your chances of moving on to the next round. So should be entertaining. Can't wait to talk about it tomorrow with you guys. All right, JD, let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
Well, JD, did you find one?
Yeah, I did actually. Did I find one? Sure. I mean, I just, it was a mad scramble this morning. I was very unprepared today. So I just ran down my feed and came up with this. It's our old friend, Sid Seixeiro. He's of course of Tim and Sid back in the day. They lasted for 17 years. We're working on breaking that record, but he works now over at City TV's Breakfast Television, and here's a picture of him just looking like a cool guy. Reminded me of Lee that time. He was wearing his wraparound sunglasses on the set. Where was he? Golden State?
San Francisco, yeah.
Yeah.
Oakland, yeah.
Shout out to Sid and congrats on the new gig. And Leah, he actually retweeted. This is, I guess, from this morning's show. It's him doing bar 3 or some sort of bar exercise. So he's just having a blast over there. So good for
Why
him.
are they outside? Where are they? Right now?
I'm sure they have like an outdoor lounge set. It's springtime.
That's downtown Toronto.
It looked like they're in somebody's backyard. Like, Mississauga for a second or something. But yeah, you're right. It must be
It's
just an outdoor
possible.
sport.
It's
No, I don't know.
maybe
Maybe they're on location. For all we know. I'm not
Yeah.
watching television anymore.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't get it here. I don't get city TV here in Atlanta. So.
No.
I used to watch breakfast television all the time.
I threw it on. Yeah.
I thought City TV was everywhere.
Kevin and Dina, wasn't it? Isn't that the?
It was Kevin and Dina. Kevin left in 2018.
Yeah.
I don't know who replaced him actually, but
Kevin.
Anyway.
so that's
Okay.
it. Tweet of the night.
Hey, look, great photo of Sid Seixeiro. I'm happy.
Really
about
good.
that. Also, I mean, just to talk about what's going on in Canada for a second. Heard the Leafs lost a Game 7, blew a 3-1 series lead like they were the Clippers or the Jazz. Yeah, wow. Way to go, Habs. Congrats to Matty O, big Canadians fan. Coming back, Tass, taking care of the Leafs. Oh, man, the Maple Laughers. Am I right?
Yeah, why are you setting me up? I got
I don't
nothing
know.
to say.
I
about the
thought
Maple Leafs.
maybe. You're a sports guy. I thought you were a sports guy. I thought
Actually,
maybe
I was angry.
like
I was angry with Matt Austin on Monday morning. I woke up to we're going to Game 7, baby, from Matt Austin.
Yeah.
And I had no idea he was watching the Leafs Habs.
Oh, he
I
loves
thought
his
he, I
Habs.
thought he was projecting the Jazz-Grizzlies series because I was looking forward to watching the Jazz-Grizzlies that morning.
Right.
And if they won, that was Game 3. If they won at home, maybe he's just saying we're going to Game 7. But anyways, yeah, the Leafs have lost first round in the last 5 seasons, I think.
Oh man, Maple Larfs. Oh my goodness.
All right, a quick trivia.
Yeah.
Four goals were scored in Game 7 last night. Can you name any of the skaters who slid one in the 5
No,
hole?
I know Price was in net. That's all I know.
Yeah. What about
Marner, Matthews?
Lejean? Yeah. Some French sounding name.
We got a Gallagher. We got a Perry. We got a Toffoli. And, of course, we've got a Nylander.
Oh,
Nylander's on the Habs, huh? Is that Corey Perry? Give me a click on that Perry.
I think that was a Corey Perry.
Wow, he's been
you
around.
know
A C
hockey.
Perry. Yeah.
Nylander.
What was the final score? 4-0?
3-1.
3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Empty netter, I assume. Is that what happened?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
I'm literally looking at this. I'm like, William Nylander.
Is he related
That's
to
a guy.
Mills?
No.
Mills?
No.
I'm going to go up. He's
Michaels.
got to be.
Oh,
He's
Michael.
got to be related.
Ah,
Every
yeah.
hockey player is related.
Yeah.
They're all
Patrick
Sutter
Marlowe
brothers.
last night. Did he get a point?
I'm not going back to the app. man.
This is my fault. It's sort of JD's fault going Sid Seixeiro for tweet night, but then it was my fault. I brought up the dumb hockey game. Sorry. All right, guys. Join us later today, approximately 3 p.m. on YouTube for a brand new Top Shot Hot Boys. Again, we're going to have special guests joining us. We'll rip a pack or two, give away some moms, have some larfs ourselves. Go grab your No Dunks merch over at nodunks.com. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to The Athletic. Go to theathletic.com/no dunks. All right. Happy 500th episode, guys, for No Dunks here. Wow, 500 already. We got there in a hurry. It feels like we've been working at The Athletic for like 3 months sometimes. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, happy 500 episodes. Thanks to some of you that have been here for every single one. Mad respect, either listening or watching us on YouTube. Again, we'll be back later today and then tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern with a brand new No Dunks as we break down the 3 games from tonight and maybe any of the hockey games that are going on. I don't know. Maybe the Bruins got a game. Sure they do.
I'm back to the app.
All right, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, you can enjoy donuts with No Dunks.
Yeah, I did sort of say that, didn't I? Embrace the day, people.